Hi everyone, and welcome to the SBS Student Panel. We're delighted to have you join us today. I'm Gabby from the Student Recruitment Team, and I'm delighted to be joined by some of our recent postgraduate alumni from the School of Social and Political Sciences, who have just recently completed their one-year Master's programme and are here to share their experiences with you. So today we have Matt from Malta, who studied Global Health. Over to you, Matt. How are you doing today?
All good, thanks. Can't really complain. Yourself?
Yeah, really good. Thank you for joining us today. And we're
No
also
worries.
joined by Ritika.
Hi.
Hi, Ritika. Ritika's from India, and Ritika studied on our Media, Communications and International Journalism program. How are you, Ritika?
I'm great today. How are you, Gabby?
Yeah, really good. Thank you for joining us today. I think we're ready to get started on your experiences then. So, the first question we have is a question for both of you. So, looking back, what's one thing you wish you'd known before starting your master's program? So, we'll begin with you, Ritika.
So, one thing that I had known before starting my master's program was that it's not that scary once you get here. Like, once you move countries. Like, in the beginning, you will feel a little bit scared and you will feel like, oh my God, I'm going to move to a whole new country. How will I manage? But once you get here and you research enough, you get to know that there are a lot of people who are willing to help you. There are a lot of services that the university provides that will make sure that your well-being is fine. And yeah, so I wish I knew that before. Like, I panicked for several months about moving towards another country. So yeah, that was my experience.
That's lovely, Ritika. Thank you for sharing that piece of advice with prospective students. I'm sure many people have been in your shoes, and they will be in your shoes. Preparing to start and feeling that sense of nervousness, maybe excited nervousness about starting. So it's great to know that you don't have to worry and you don't have to panic. That's fabulous advice. And Matt, how about you? Is there something you'd wish you'd known before starting?
I mean, I primarily wished I'd known how cold it gets. I'm from a very warm country and I severely underestimated how many layers I need to bring up. But beyond that, I kind of want to echo what Rutika said. I was blown away by the amount of support that was available. And as a university, I find that in general, you do have a lot of people to turn to if you ever need any help, and that includes people within your respective programs, but also within the school and from the university in general. So, had I known that before, I think my level of nervousness coming to the university would have been way lower, I think.
That's lovely. I know that is lovely as well to know that, yeah, you did have all the support, but I suppose you never know before you start what to expect. So, everyone always has these kind of fears about things when you don't know what to expect. So that's some great tips for the students today. Thank you. So moving on to first arriving in Glasgow then. So Ritika, are you able to share your experiences of when you first arrived in Glasgow and settling in? For example, what were your impressions of Glasgow as a city and also the campus? And how did you feel that you settled in? Did you have to manage any culture shock or homesickness? And how did you do this? What kind of support services did you use?
So, first of all, the moment I arrived in Glasgow, I was blown away by how friendly everybody was, even from the moment that I stepped in the airport. Because we have, as international students, you have a lot of luggage, right? So that people started helping you right from the airport. And then when I arrived in my accommodation, people were like super friendly. So everything with my accommodation went well there. And then when I went to the campus, I met my fellow professors and my fellow students, and they were like just so like they will help you with anything that you want to know. They are just so cooperating. Like, you won't feel like out of place at all. Like, even during seminars, you will feel a little bit hesitant about speaking up because you have to speak up in a seminar, but your professors and your lecturers will make sure that you do put your hand up and you do speak and give your piece of advice or piece of knowledge that you have, and you share with other students that are there for international reasons. And it was just a very enriching experience overall. And talking about the support services, I did make sure that I contact like a therapist in that that is available with the well-being services at the university, that made sure that my uh, transition from an Indian system of studying to UK system of studying was like smooth, because I got scared with the essays and I really panicked. So it helped me a lot, because they gave me uh, ideas of which services I can contact to and what I can do. And even my professors helped me with that. So it was like really good like it was a really good experience of me when I first arrived in Glasgow. Even like we're just about socially, the people were like really fun. There was so many freshers party that you could attend. There were so many events that the clubs hosted that you could attend, so that you felt right at home. You never feel like, oh, I'm alone in this country when I first arrived. So I think that was amazing in terms of the universities, like what university provides and what the clubs at the university provides to a student who is coming, leaving their home back to another country. So I was like really surprised and happy about that.
That's amazing. Thank you, Ritika, for sharing your first impressions and your experiences of first arriving in Glasgow. It's so nice that you had that warm welcome from Glasgow and also the university, and you didn't feel lost. You felt like you had that kind of support from the get-go, which is really important as an international student. So thank you. And Matt, how about you then? Can you tell us about settling in and making the most of Welcome Week and Induction Week, and how you went about finding your community or finding your tribe? How did that kind of go for you?
For sure. I think the most important thing to remember about Welcome Week and Induction Week is that there will be a lot happening. And that's beyond obviously everything that you'll be doing with settling in, moving into your accommodation, which, as Ritika mentioned, is usually very hassle-free because everyone's really nice and helpful. Um, Most of the schedules for Welcome Week and Induction Week will be available to you well in advance. And you obviously have the general events which will be put up by the university, which are usually really fun. You'll have events by clubs and all the societies. The Student Representative Council will have a big welcome event, which is really, really fun. I'd highly encourage you to go. It's in the Bute Hall, which is beautiful. And it's basically where you'll start and end your journey at university. And obviously, your respective programs will have various induction sessions, and that includes both the School of Social and Political Sciences, but also your respective program, which I would highly encourage you to attend because they not only give you a perspective about the school and the culture within it, but also you begin to meet your classmates, you begin to understand the expectations of you for your program throughout the year. And it's really the best place for you to ask questions if you have any concerns moving into the first semester. Just planning ahead before the first week is really good, so you can not get overwhelmed by everything that's going on. That will be my advice for sure.
Great. Thank you for sharing those tips to the students about attending Welcome Week and all the different events. That makes sense that, it would really help you to feel prepared. So thank you for those tips, Matt. Okay, so I think we'll move on to our first semester then. So you've arrived in Glasgow, you've settled in. So Ritika, are you able to share your experiences of first semester? How did that go for you, including making friends, adjusting to academic life? I know that you've already mentioned some of the services and adjustments there coming from India to Glasgow. Did you join any clubs or societies? Was there any highlights and challenges of semester one for you?
So semester one was like, in the beginning it was really fun because you were making friends during seminars, you were interacting with people. But towards the end, when your assignments start coming in, it gets a little harrowing, because you have to like make sure that you have read all the readings that were given to you, and then you have to write essays, and they have to be perfect because you are scared about the grades. You have to get a distinction, you have to get a merit, you know that you have that pressure, and it starts from the end of semester one. So I would just suggest that it's okay to have that. Just talk to people and like make sure that you're always in contact with your professors so that they can help you out and you're not left alone in the dark, because they're always willing to help out. Even after seminars end, they will stay with you for 10 more minutes and like answer your questions. So in academic wise it went well, although I got a little scared with the essay. I dealt with it and then it all went fine in the second semester. And then socially, I joined clubs like Desi Society and like Indian Glasgow Indian Society and stuff. So it was like good because I got an experience of of home, staying away from home. Like all the festivals, like Diwali, Holi, we had people around us from the same community, which felt like which is like a hope in the dark when you're away from such big festivals during like holidays. So yeah, I did enjoy that too. And yeah, so the first semester pretty much was very smooth sailing with a little bit of thunderstorms, but you get through it. There is always a new day, so do not worry about it too much.
That's lovely. Thank you for sharing those experiences, Ritika. And it's great to see that, there were a few kind of hiccups, like you say, but there was always support to help you get through that. And by the end of semester one, you were kind of back on track with your the academic sides of things and your assignment. So that's fabulous. And Matt, how did your first semester go? Any highlights or challenges? Did you get involved in any research or professional development? Part-time work, and what was your overall kind of semester one experience like?
I would say pretty much like Ritika's. It's very semester one is quite busy in that unlike semester two, you are expected to have all your assignments in before you break off for the holidays. And that can be quite overwhelming. There are services in place, obviously, to help you, and I did avail of those services myself to, air my concerns about my assignments, and I found it to be extremely helpful, especially as someone coming from an academic environment which is completely different from that of the UK. Um, in terms of professional development and finding part-time work, I actually managed to find some jobs through the university itself. So the university has a careers hub, if I'm remembering the term correctly, and the university itself also offers a bunch of part-time jobs that you can take on a freelance basis if you want to. So I took up a position as a university ambassador. So whenever the university needs people to show prospective students around, prospective families, that's usually something I would be involved in. And we also get involved in on-site and off-campus events to represent the University of Glasgow. And that's an opportunity open to all students, regardless of whether they're international or not. And then I also took up a position with the School of Social and Political Sciences as an SPS ambassador, which is basically allowing me to do this today, which is a really good opportunity because it allows you to um, be part of the structure of the school beyond just being a student, and having a life beyond academics is extremely important, I find, just so you don't uh, fall into a hole of worrying about your assignments all the time. And from a professional development perspective, it's also really important to remember that there are loads of volunteering opportunities for you as well within the school and outside of the school. Within global health, I was the course representative, and that counts as a volunteering experience. And also gives you really good insight with how the academic side of the university works, because you are expected to be the representative at the biannual student staff liaison committee meeting, and that is where you would get to address and air concerns on behalf of your fellow classmates directly to the school and the college. It'll be on your HEAR transcript at the end of the year, which is really good for your professional development, and will really help you hone skills that you can use transversely, no matter what kind of job you'll end up doing moving forwards.
That's great. So it sounds like your first semester was really action-packed, both academically and with different jobs. So you had a lot going on, very busy, which sounds fantastic. So how would you feel the transition went, Matt, then from semester one to semester two? How did semester two feel differently compared to semester one? What were the main differences, would you say?
I would say, so for my course specifically, I would say the main differences were that we got to choose our own courses for semester two, whereas in semester one, we had our core modules, which everyone did in our class. And semester two was an opportunity to allow us to modify our, uh, selections of subjects depending on what we wanted to do. So within the course for global health, I ended up going down more of a health policy and international policy route, whereas some of my
Mhm.
classmates went more in the communicable diseases or the medical side of things. So it's a really opportunity for you to explore your interests at that point, which is quite nice. Like I mentioned before, in semester two, your assignment deadlines are slightly different from semester one. So you do get a bit of a breather in terms of spreading out your time for writing your assignments with semester two. However, at the same time, you will also begin working on your dissertation by that point. So, semester two was quite exciting because we got put in touch with our dissertation conveners and then eventually our dissertation supervisors. And this is where we began planning the very initial stages of our dissertation. Obviously, with the busy schedule around semester two, there wasn't really much opportunity for us specifically to work on a dissertation, but it did set a good foundation for us to build off of moving on later into the year.
That's great. That's excellent. So you start all that process kind of early on with your dissertation. You kind of start your initial kind of conversations and start thinking about your topic and stuff, which is great. That's fantastic and great to hear about the variety in semester two. Focus more on kind of your specialist electives, and you get a bit more kind of choice there in what to specialise in. So that's fabulous. And Ritika, how about you? How did you enjoy your second semester? You know, what were the kind of key highlights for you? Did you do any field trips or anything like that? And how was your overall experience?
Okay, so semester two was way more practical than semester one. In semester one, we learned theories, but in semester two, we got to do and learn what we actually wanted to become. Like we became journalists. Some of them produced newspapers, and like my lot produced video documentaries on topics. Our topic was the our topic was surrounded in university and how the protests were happening in university for this. And it was like really nice, like we went in groups and like uh shot people, like we did the shooting of people during protests, and like we got to interview people. So it was like really fun, like we got an practical experience of what we were studying in the first semester. And then we also had like a news day. We also had a news day in the Hunterian Museum where we got to like hone our interviewing skills, which was like really like insightful, and we got to learn a lot because there were so many contributors that came, and we had to like read about them on spot and then make questions. And it was like a very good one-to-one sessions, and then they were giving us feedbacks to see that where we were going wrong, which was like really helpful for us during the semester three when we were doing our final projects. So yeah, it was like really like eye opening that to how journalism works in UK and like how it is different from all the other countries. So it was like really beneficial for all the students. Yeah.
That's fabulous. Thanks, Ritika. It's great that you got to put some of the theory into practice then during your second semester. And you also got to experience those kind of field trips as well on the news day. That's at the Hunterian. That's lovely. Wonderful. So moving on to semester three. So this is your final semester. Um, so, Matt, can you tell us how your final semester and summer went? You know, this would probably be the time that you're working um, on your dissertation, so a lot of work. And, you know, was there any other professional development, any kind of study trips or anything like that for you? And how did that kind of time period go?
So, yeah, semester three was quite interesting. It started off the minute semester two ended, really, with us working heavily on our ethics applications for our dissertation. Obviously, this will vary depending on what kind of dissertation you end up doing, but as my dissertation was split down the middle between policy analysis, but also stakeholder interviews, within a very sensitive field, I had to get ethical approval from the university, and this is a quite a long process. So I would definitely advise that you discuss this with your convener early on. to ensure that you obviously meet your deadlines accordingly as is needed for each of your respective courses, because this varies across all of the respective courses.
Mhm.
Um, Aside from that as well, obviously, we began working on our respective dissertations, which is really fun and really exciting. You get lots of freedom to design and work on your dissertation as you want in conversation with your supervisor, but it is very much dictated by you. Your supervisor isn't there to tell you what to do, they're there to help and guide you, which is really, really nice. Um, and within global health specifically, we also had field work. So in June, we were lucky enough to get the opportunity to go to Geneva in Switzerland, and we spent a week basically going around the various bodies of the United Nations and the WHO, and we're in discussion with people in decision-making positions, basically discussing what's going on within the world of global health and health in general in a very interesting time internationally. For us, it was also a particularly notable period to be there because it was immediately after the World Health Assembly, which was held in May, and was also shortly after big players in the field like the United States have pulled out of the WHO. So it generated a lot of very interesting discussion for us in terms of what is going to happen moving forward within the realm of international health. And as a class who really wants to move forward within that, it really presented us face to face with the reality of what we will be facing when we eventually work in those fields. So if you do get the opportunity to go on fieldwork, because ultimately it is optional, but it is provided by the university, I would highly recommend that you go. It is an incredible experience for you to develop your skills in a practical setting, I would say. And yeah, and then the rest of the semester was basically dissertation writing. Like Ritika mentioned before, there are great support services. So if you're ever feeling stressed about your dissertation writing, your first port of call is your supervisor, your dissertation convener, but then also to avail yourself of the services available to you. The university is not there to catch you out. It is really there to help you as much as it can. So I would highly recommend asking for help when you need it. Yeah.
Some great advice there, Matt. Thank you for that. And I loved hearing your experiences of the study trip to Geneva and meeting all the different organisations, and how that really put things into perspective for you. And, obviously working very hard and diligently on your dissertation, but, there is the support there if you need it. So thank you. And Ritika, how about you then? So what did you do in your final and third semester? Did you do a traditional dissertation or a project, final project? How did that all go for you? And again, did you do any professional development, any study trips or anything like that as well?
Okay, so semester three was the highlight of the entire year. It was the most exciting time of your masters because I got to do a final project which was on the scraping of the National Galloway National Park. So I had to like travel to the south of Scotland, and I got to meet people there, and I got to interview them, and I got to know about their culture, their thinking about why they did not want a national park there. And it was like really nice to interview people from different areas, like from CEOs to like politicians to like actual people who resisted the national park. And all their interviews were so different and conflicting. And and you just know as a journalist, like, okay, who is telling the truth and who is being genuine and who is not. So when you do that, you just get a sense of like really self-respect, I think. And like you, because you see that, oh, I can do it now because I am interviewing all these big people. And like you get a really great sense of self-confidence. And also, apart from the final project, what we did was my course had planned its field trip to Germany in Mainz. And it was like an international news seminar where we went and we learned from people from the different universities, like from Erasmus and then from people in Germany. And we also went to a news organization called WSR in Germany, which where we learned about how different audiences react to your news. So it was like really insightful. And for me, I really enjoyed the entire trip because the my course convener, Catriona Forrest, she made sure that we had the best time in Germany. So we also went to see the Johannes Gutenberg Museum, which was like where the first printing press was invented, and we got to do that. We got to print stuff, and it was like a really enriching experience overall. And yeah, it like semester 3 was the is the most fun time if you make sure to balance your time equally between work, writing your final writing a final paper, which is the theory part of what you did practically. So if you make sure that you time it right, you can have the best time. You also have to make sure that you are in touch with your convener so that she can help you with your project. And yeah, it's a little bit hectic, but just make sure that if you feel too stressed, you reach out to your professors and people who are guiding you so that they can help you with how you can navigate your way through it. Because there were challenges while I was filming my final project. Like in the beginning, I wasn't able to go there, and I wasn't able to like go to do interviews in Edinburgh for the politicians that I was supposed to do. So she made sure that I know how Zoom interview works and how I have to frame people in a Zoom interview. So yeah, it was like really insightful, and it's stressing, but you can make it fun if you do all the right steps and talk to all the right people.
That's amazing. Thank you, Ritika. I've just really loved hearing from both of you today, both Matt and Ritika, about your full year experience. It's been fabulous to hear some of those highlights. And every kind of semester is different, and each semester has its highlights for you. So what a year you've both had, and you've done the full kind of journey from start to finish. So it must be kind of surreal sitting here now that you've finished your masters. It must be a different feeling now that you feel that you've finished. So how does that feel for both of you now that you've finished? How does that feel? And what have you been up to since finishing your degree? And do you have any next steps? So we'll begin with you, Matt.
Well, I am currently still based out of Glasgow. My current plan is to hopefully stay here, definitely until graduation, which is in just under a month, which is quite fun. In the meantime, I have obviously been using this time to actively apply for jobs within the space, obviously, that I want to work in. And I've been able to get back in touch with a lot of the volunteering work that I used to do back home in Malta, obviously in a remote capacity, which is quite nice to dedicate more time to that as well. And yeah, we're taking it day by day and seeing what's going to happen moving forwards.
Fantastic. Thank you. Lovely, Matt. And how about you, Ritika?
So, since finishing my degree, I have also been staying here in Glasgow, and I will probably move to Edinburgh if I get a job there. But right for now, I am here in Glasgow, and I am like volunteering with a news organization as a reporter. It's called Maghribi, because I did not want my writing skills to go to rust. So I'm like making sure that I write, and my work is getting published somewhere. And apart from that, I'm also like interviewing for jobs on a regular basis. I'm making sure that I talk to the people who can help me with jobs and stuff. I'm doing continuous meetings, even if it's with like the university people in the recruitment team at the university, or like just people in general who I know, who like my contacts. Like I make sure that I reach out to them so that they know that I'm available for work. So if they see that there are any work positions that are suitable for me, they can like pass it towards me. So yeah, that's all. And I have been traveling a lot, a little bit. Like I've been going to places in Scotland. Like I'm making sure that like on weekends I'm out, because from Monday to Friday I'm applying for jobs, and you get a lot of rejections, right? It's like even if you apply for 500 jobs, you get rejections from at least 400 of them. So it's like a little bit harrowing. So you need to make sure that you have time for yourself. So I make sure that on weekends I'm going somewhere, like I'm going on trip somewhere out, like even if it's in Scotland, or if it's like places like Edinburgh or Stirling, or even like Open or Trune, like somewhere, like just go out and refresh your mindset so that from Monday again you can be ready to like deal with all the job rejections or like interviews that you get. So yeah, that
That's
is all.
wonderful. Thank you, both of you. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences with us. I know the students will have loved hearing from you, so thank you so much. I'm just going to jump into some of the live questions. So I know that there has been a few questions added in here. So one of them, and Ritika and Matt, you might be able to comment on this. It's about the main differences between undergraduate and postgraduate level education. So what are the main differences? So obviously the 1 year master's is a very intensive 1 year. Matt, what would you say the level of difficulty is between undergrad and postgrad? How did you find that transition?
Sure. I will preface this by saying I did my undergrad in a different country. However, obviously, a lot of the things I will say will carry over to the UK as well. With regards to a postgrad, you are expected to do a lot of the legwork yourself. You are very much in a position where you are now expected to be in charge of your own time management, reading up on the materials for class, attending class. No one is going to chase you if you don't. You are very much the responsible person and the responsible party in ensuring that you are doing your duty as a student for the university. And obviously, with the dissertation writing as well, I feel like there's a lot of freedom which comes with it as a postgrad because you now have the skills that you've garnered within an undergrad setting that you can then apply transversally and possibly even some professional experience as well that you can bring in as an adult perspective to the way that you'll design, craft, and eventually output your dissertation moving forwards as well. I would definitely say that is it. Obviously, there is a certain level of specialization that's expected within a postgrad setting. So, some of the subjects which you might have explored at an undergrad level will definitely be delved into and expanded beyond what would have been expected from an undergrad level. Um, uh, and I also find that there is less of a hierarchical expectation between you and teachers at the postgrad level, in that open communication is much freer, which is very refreshing and much nicer, and also helps to sort of lessen any nervousness you might have around contacting people for help, I would say. Those are definitely my differences.
Amazing. Thank you, Matt. And I think there's also a question in here about partnership programs. I'm just going to have a wee look. Okay, yeah. Is there the opportunity to partner with other universities? So at the school and the university, we do offer, a number of international partnership programs. Some of these programs are taught over 2 years. For example, we've got a collaboration with Radboud University in the Netherlands, and some students taking these programs can opt to study a second year in a different country in, at Radboud University in the Netherlands, for example. So that often is, an option if you want a unique kind of 2 year degree where you would spend a second year in a different country. We do also offer some international joint degrees or 2 year degree programs through the Erasmus Mundus program. So we specialise in a number of Erasmus Mundus programs where students can study at a number of partner institutions across Europe and beyond. And Glasgow University is part of that collaboration and is part of a consortium of universities offering these joint Erasmus Mundus international master's degrees. So that is an option. I'll see if there are any other questions that have come up. Okay. There's a question here about support for, additional learning differences. So we do offer a lot of support in terms of teaching and adjustments, and we I think the best place to seek advice for that would be, for example, we have support services available, including disability services. So our students can contact these support services, and that is something that's possible as well. I'll see if there's any other questions that have come up. Okay. I think that looks as though that is all our questions seem to be answered. There's a question here about part-time, studying a postgraduate degree part-time. So there is the option of studying over 2 years if you're going to be studying part-time. That option is not available for international students. It is only kind of home-based or UK-based students who can study over 2 years. So yeah, there's the option of just doing that and splitting up your kind of core courses and modules over the course of 2 years, and you would normally do like a dissertation or final project in your second year. And it would be best to reach out to the student recruitment team or the programme convener of the programme that you're interested in to discuss things like timetabling for part-time programmes. And yeah, that would be the best thing to do. We can add our student recruitment email into the chat for you. I can add that in. I'll see if I'm able to add that in. I'll see if I can share our contact details with one of the team who could add that in. Okay, so I've just shared our contact details there for the student recruitment team. So yeah, if you have any kind of questions, please reach out to us and we'd be able to help. Okay, there's another question in here from someone, and this would be a question that would be good for our students. So is there any disadvantage for someone who took an academic break versus someone who went straight into a master's programme after undergraduate? Now, Ritika, I think you had a bit of a career, you followed a career path first before going back into academic life. So would you be able to answer that? How did you find that transition going back to academic life after, starting your career? Was that difficult to adjust or, yeah?
Okay, so I think Matt would be able to answer better because he has 8 years, but I'll still answer the later part. I did work for 8 months and then I joined my master's degree. But I do think that if I had more experience, like a little bit like a year or two more experience, then it would have been easier for me to like apply for jobs in the UK. So I don't think it's difficult. I think you should take a break for at least 1 to 2 years. It does, I think it does feel a little bit, I don't know about the break of academics. I think Matt would answer that better. But for my experience, like who jumped into academics back after 8 months, I would suggest that a 1 to 2 years of experience in the field that you work in is like important for once you start applying for jobs in UK. So yeah, that is my perspective as somebody who jumped right after 8 months of like of work. But yeah, Matt, do you want to continue about like how 8 years of experience, 8 years of gap feels like?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see it as a disadvantage myself. I mean, if anything, you get to bring a very unique perspective to the way that you approach your learning, and you also sort of get to share that experience with the rest of your classmates. One other thing about the postgrad program is you're very much expected to learn from each other, not just from your teachers. In that a lot of the learning is very discursive, and you'll be discussing a lot of issues together. And if you do take time out between your undergrad and your postgrad to experience the world, be it within the field that you're entering or one which is tangentially related to it, you get to bring that with you into your postgrad. If there is a disadvantage, I would say that maybe there might be some new tech which you might not be used to within the university itself. So There might be some changes to Moodle, for example, which were not the same as that which you had in your undergrad, which might take just a second to get used to. But beyond that, I would not say that there's any major disadvantage to taking an academic break in between. As long as you're fully committed to doing your postgraduate program, I would not. I wouldn't imagine there is no.
Okay, and I think we might have time for one quick question if we're maybe got a minute or two, and then we'll have to get finished. So this question is about the schedule of doing a master's program. What does a typical timetable look like? So, Matt, are you able to comment on that? You know, how many days perhaps you're in, you know, group work or versus kind of big lectures? Yeah.
Sure. So in my case, for both semesters, I only had classes on 3 days of the week. And you might think that that's not a lot of time for classes, but it is enough because you will have a lot of reading and prep to do for your respective classes. In some instances, you will also have tutorials. So my classes were split down the middle. You would have a tutorial preceding a lecture or the other way around, or they would be combined together into 1, 2, or 3 hour long session. And that does require a lot of prep, and you will usually be spending the rest of the week preparing for the following week's lectures or preparatory work. In semester 2, especially, you might also be expected to give presentations as part of your classes, which will obviously sometimes require group work as well, and that will have to be done outside of class hours. So having those 3 days of classes with 2 or 3 hours for each day is usually enough and way more time than you will need for in-person teaching, because the rest of it will be prep. And like Rutika mentioned, it's important to have a split between your personal life and academics. And if you do use your week properly to sort of focus on your academics, you get to enjoy your time off during the weekend. So it's not as full during the week as I would say as a postgrad, but it is definitely weighted accordingly.
That's great, thank you. And that makes complete sense that you would have to really, you know, keep up with the reading because you are expected to contribute in class. And if you haven't done the readings and preparation, then it's unlikely that you'll be able to contribute to those discussions and follow those kind of class discussions. So that's a great point. Now, I think that's all we're going to have time for today. However, please do keep in touch following the session. You know, if you do have any questions, you can reach out to the student recruitment team at the School of Social and Political Sciences. We have shared our contact details in there, as well as some of our, you know, including our email address, as well as some of the links to our web pages. So please do keep in touch, and we look forward to, you know, hopefully speaking to some of you again. And I'd just like to say thank you to our wonderful students, Matt and Ritika, for joining us on this session. It was fabulous to hear from both of you. So thank you very much. Anything you would like to say to prospective students before we wrap up, Ritika or Matt?
Okay, so I would like to say that do not worry, just come here. You will be supported. You will lead a happy 1 year. So don't worry too much. It seems hectic, and it will be hectic, but you just need to know how to manage time and how to communicate properly, and you'll do well. So don't worry, join the University of Glasgow. You'll have a great time.
Matt?
I would say don't keep second guessing your application for the university. One thing which I loved about being here is that we're a very diverse community, and your perspective, as sort of underwhelming as you might think it is actually very much valued. And I don't think you should worry about your admission or your application getting through the university. Just really go for it. That's all I'd say, and hopefully we'll see you around campus very soon.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining the session, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you. Take care.
Bye.